Are you dreaming about a New Zealand holiday but worried about the cost? What if I told you that you could save thousands of dollars while still having a trip of a lifetime? Stick around because I'm going to share 8 game-changing money-saving tips. Those are based on my long-time experience as a New Zealand travel planner. So here's what's coming up. Number 1, a sample 14-day New Zealand itinerary. I'll walk you through a North and South Island trip, showing you to save thousands of dollars without missing out on incredible experiences. Number 2, breaking down costs. You get a clear understanding of accommodation, transportation, and tour prices, plus value for money alternatives and insider travel tips to cut costs without sacrificing adventure. Number 3, hidden travel savings. I'll highlight often overlooked ways to save hundreds of dollars with simple tweaks that can make a big difference. Number 4, travel planning sheet. To make things easier, you can download my free travel planning sheet designed to help you organize and optimize your trip of a lifetime. So let's dive in and start saving. New Zealand has a huge range of accommodation options to suit every traveler's need. From budget-friendly hostels from around $50 per night to luxury lodges and private retreats that can go up to $5,000 per night. But don't worry, you don't need to splurge out to find out an amazing place to stay. You can book directly, use popular booking sites such as Booking.com or try Airbnb. But the real trick is knowing where and when to book for the best value. And that's exactly what I'm going to help you with. I'll share my go-to options that I use when planning my guests' travel plans. Great places that balance comfort, location, and affordability. Want even more details on accommodation? Check out my in-depth accommodation guide in the video link in the description box below. Transportation in New Zealand. New Zealand offers many ways to travel, but choosing the right one can make or break your trip. Some travelers love the freedom of a motorhome or camper van, but most travelers opt for a rental car, especially in the peak summer season when motorhome costs are very high. If you're not sure whether to rent a car or a motorhome, I'll break it all down in my detailed comparison video linked in the description box below. Public transport like coaches and trains is limited. Domestic flights can save lots of time and money if planning is done months ahead of your travel arriving dates in New Zealand. Stay tuned as we dive deeper into the travel planning soon. If you find this video helpful, please hit the subscribe button below to stay in touch for more helpful New Zealand videos to come. New Zealand offers incredible tour and attraction experiences for every budget. From free activities like hiking in the stunning national parks to once-in-a-lifetime adventures like helicopter flights, skydiving or private guided tours. But which ones are actually worth it? That's where my years of travel planning experience comes in. I'll be sharing mind-blowing recommendations that balance value and unforgettable experiences, so you get the most out of your trip no matter your budget. Stay tuned, you won't want to miss these insider picks. So let's have a look at this 14-day sample itinerary North and South Island. You can download this PDF with the link in the description box below, and you will see all the major locations which are highlighted in red. And also you will see a breakdown of the days. And if you click here on that yellow button, you'll be able to download the Google spreadsheet, which will further help you planning your trip out. So now we're at the Google spreadsheet. The way you can download is you go to File and then download as Excel. So that's the best way to do it, and then you have it on your computer. Just a quick overview on what we're looking at here. So we have a listing on accommodation options, transport options, and tour options, and they're all calculated. So we also have a few links here at the bottom with helpful details like driving license and flight links and visa, etc. So this is a working sheet, so you can plan with this. You can change your date. So if you change the travel date here, all the other travel dates will change. We've also got a link to our playlists, our YouTube playlists over here. So let's have a look through the accommodation options first. So with the accommodation, we've got a little bit of a mix on hotels, apartment style, we got bed and breakfast style, we've got motel style. And they're all a little bit different, but they're all really offering a good price value relation. So I quickly go through the options I've selected here. So Seadel Suites in Auckland, you can click down here for more details, but Seadel Suites in Auckland has a great location. It's right in the heart Viaduct Harbour, which is easy walking access. It's not a top rated property, but the location is great, and for one night I can suggest that. Aura in Rotorua again is centrally located, which is often really important when you're traveling. You want to be right where the action is. It's a apartment style property, again good value for money. So the next one, Blue Thistle Cottage, which is located outside Te Anau, that's in Fiordland down south. This one, you can actually prepare some food. You have a little bit of a kitchenette, so that's a great advantage. Then we have Te Wanaka Lodge, which is located right in the heart of Wanaka. It's a bed and breakfast, so the tariff, $233 for that time of the year, includes breakfast. Then on the west coast, we have one night here in Franz Josef. It's a studio. Again, they have a little kitchenette. The same with Beach Motel in Punaikaiki. Great location to explore the Paparoa National Park. Then you head over to the northern part of the South Island to Mapua 41 apartment. Again, it's a great little spot right in the village, but still quiet located. Price-wise, it's a little bit higher, but it's worth it. There's also a couple of other properties. If you look through the booking.com site, there's a wide range of options for you, but in this instance I just selected those because I still believe they're good value for money. In respect of cost saving in New Zealand, I believe by selecting those kinds of properties, you can easily save $100 to $150 New Zealand per day, so which is quite substantial. Then you would move over to Kaikoura, which there's a lovely property, Fairways. So let's move over to the transport options. For Auckland, when you're arriving, I do recommend not to take a rental car straight away, because after a long haul flight you're obviously tired. There's a couple of options. You can either use the airport transfer coach service, or you could obviously use an Uber. Cost wise, I will not think that it makes a huge difference, but if you want to save as much as possible, I guess the airport coach is the best option. Rental car wise, we got the Discover rental car site with about 10 to 15 different rental car options. My preference is often not for the lowest possible price, but find something in the medium range where you're happy to pay. There are smaller operators which have depot in the main locations. So if you want to pick up in smaller locations, you often need to go for the established companies like Avis, Hertz, Budget. But by selecting a smaller operator, you pay much less, and often the service is actually great and the cars are good too, especially with Go Rentals, which is my preferred option. We got here $140 per day, which is in the kind of peak season. You probably be able to find a little bit lower prices, but also keep in mind that this price $140 does include a full insurance cover. So insurance options are often around about $30 to $40 per day, so they play a big part. You might consider to use your overall travel insurance for that. That's an option to save money as well, but especially to Compared to the big operators, you can easily save $50, $70 a day by using a smaller operator. For that reason too, I recommend to start your trip in Auckland, and for the North Island part, actually drive back to Auckland Airport. That way, you got lower rental car fees, but on the other side, you can actually take a domestic flight from Auckland direct to Queenstown. Those domestic flights can save you a lot, especially if you book them in advance. Like November, we have now April, so it's about 6-8 months ahead. You probably pay half the price, like $250 New Zealand instead of $450. That's one of the key advices in respect of saving money I have for you. Book early, especially the flights as well. So let's have a quick look through the tour and activity options. As mentioned before, there are lots of tours which are free of charge, such as walks in the national parks, but there's always really a key benefit to join a local tour. This is a very important part of your overall New Zealand experience. So let's have a quick look through the options here. So the first operator here is 𝗥𝗲𝗹𝗁𝗏. It's a guided small group walking tour. It's only about $105, $120 maybe in the next season. So this is one of my tours I really love. It's only about 3 hours, but perfect for stretching the legs after a long haul flight. The next one is 𝗬𝗂𝗃𝗏 Cave in Waitomo. I suggest to do that en route between Auckland and Rotorua. Again, it's a really good price for what you're getting. It's a guided tour. It's around about 2 hours. It says here 1.5, but around about 2 hours normally. And you go into the limestone caves around Waitomo. The next one is ziplining. It's canopy tours in Rotorua. Again, great value for money. It's a trip for adventure seekers a little bit, but many people who have never done ziplining before doing that, and it's also through a pristine rainforest. So it's one of my favorite tours in New Zealand to do. Now, this one is in Fiordland National Park, Milford Sound. This is a coach cruise walk trip. It's $275, a little bit more, but it also includes all the transfers, a guided tour, a guided walks along the way, as well as the cruise in Milford Sound. So again, highly recommended to do this one. Also saves you quite a bit of driving, which is around about 2 hours one way from 𝗬𝗏𝗃 to Milford Sound. So from 𝗬𝗏𝗃, you're heading towards Queenstown, and you could either stay there or you could continue towards Wanaka. Also another place you could continue to Cromwell and stay there, which is right in the middle between Queenstown and Wanaka. Queenstown is generally a little bit more expensive. Wanaka is kind of my favorite place. It's a little bit more quiet, but still lots of things to do. Like here we have the Wanaka Jet Boat and Wilderness Walk. Again, a little bit more costly. It's a 4-hour trip going up the 𝗦𝗏𝗃𝗃 River and the Mount Aspiring National Park. Really well worth it, and it's one of those iconic tours to do with a jet boat and also a guided walk in a beautiful forest. So highly recommended and worth the money. Now, 𝗥𝗲𝗹𝗁𝗏 is a little bit of a hidden secret. It's outside Franz Josef. It's one of these tours. Most people come to the area for the glaciers, which is great. You can still walk up to the glacier valley, but this little village just about 30 minutes from Franz Josef Glacier is just stunning, and you can go into the lagoon kayaking, and it's only about $150 per person for a 2-hour guided trip into the 𝗥𝗲𝗃𝗏 lagoon area with the white herons here. So highly recommended. Now, a totally different scene is the northern part of the South Island here in the 𝗟𝗶 Tasman National Park. You want to go either walking anyway, but also here's a sailing trip, which is really recommended. You could also go kayaking, but there are lots of options. But I found, for $132, it's a really good value for money, this trip to do. One of the iconic things in New Zealand is also the whale watch in Kaikoura. This is the best place in New Zealand where you can do the whale watch, and for $175, it's also one of these activities you don't want to miss out if you're in the region. So if you go through Kaikoura, we got you 2 nights staying in the itinerary, so that makes sense. So if we calculate this all out, we have an approximate cost for the accommodation of $2,659. Again, this is totally subject to what you're selecting, and this could be actually lower than that. Then we have the transportation costs of around about $2,140. Again, this is an approximate. You could select a smaller rental car or a lower cost rental car. Also, if you book early, as mentioned before, the domestic flight costs could come down even more. And then we have the tours and activities here, always for two people traveling together, and we come to a total of around about 8,000 New Zealand dollars, or around about $4,000 per person, which is in US dollars around about 2,400, and in euro 2,230. So this is a lovely itinerary package for a reasonable cost, and I really could recommend this for anyone want to self-plan the itinerary. So here's a quick overview on the potential costs I believe you could save with this itinerary. So it's realistic to save $150 per night for the accommodation. There's no real difference with the transportation between airport and city. With the rental car options, especially if you're using smaller operators, you could easily save $60 per day. Then we have the domestic flights. Again, you would want to book that really 6-8 months ahead to save those. Then we have cost savings with high ticket activities. So if you take one helicopter flight out, which is about $500 per person, or something else like skydiving, quite expensive, so another cost saving, as well as the petrol. It's often forgotten that the petrol cost sometimes all adds up, and the self-catering option when you're staying in apartments or cottages. I have put in here 6 dinners for 2 people, and realistically going out for dinner you have to calculate on $50 per person with a drink. Overall here we have around about $5,000 New Zealand cost saving for 2 people, which is quite significant. So you want to experience New Zealand without breaking the bank. Here are my top 8 money saving travel tips to make your trip affordable and unforgettable. Number 1, book early. Prices rise with demand, so lock in the best rates in advance. Number 2, travel off-peak season. Enjoy cheaper flights, accommodation and rental rates with fewer crowds. Good off-peak travel months are September, October and April and May. Number 3, choose the right rental car locations. Smaller operators at key locations such as Auckland, Christchurch and Queenstown can save you big time. Number 4, use domestic flights smartly. Flying between major hubs can save you time and fuel on long drives. If you book months ahead, you can save lots on domestic flights. Number 5, stay longer in one location, less driving, meaning lower fuel and rental car costs. Sample, you don't really need a car when you stay in the major cities. Number 6, take advantage of free activities. National park hikes and scenic walks are priceless and cost nothing. Number 7, be selective with tours. Skip the most expensive tours such as helicopter rides and may opt for a float plane instead. Also find incredible alternatives like kayaking in 𝗥𝗲𝗹𝘁𝗀𝗃, which is run by a small family operator. Number 8, self-catering when possible. Cottage stays with a kitchen let you save on meals. For more smart travel planning tips, check out my New Zealand travel planning playlist linked up here. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.